أعوذ بالله الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد. All praise is due to Allah, may His peace and blessings be showered upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who fought tooth and nail for Islam to get to every corner of the world. Our supplication always is, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestow unto him His full blessings and mercy, and to whoever is to follow his footsteps until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. Now, because these are the marriage series halaqa, and it's public knowledge that the Islamic stand to the same-sex marriages is actually a big no. Now, the assumption is, if you're a man, you're going to get married to a woman. If you're a woman, you're going to get married to a man. Now, for starters, I just want, as usual, discussion, let us start. If you're a man and you're going to come here for the interaction, the question you're answering is, could you please do us a favor and describe to us who your woman is? Who do you consider for a woman? And if you're a woman, a lady, who do you consider for a man? As you're thinking, it is too dramatic for someone who is ready for marriage and you have issues to only define the gender you're going to get married to. At least out of the confusion you have, you wouldn't have had that. Now, if you have issues defining that, chances are you might get married to a female thinking they are women, yet they are not women, if that makes sense. And you might think you're getting married to a man, not knowing you're basically getting married to a male. Umusajja yani, mchala yani. Where do we start from? Gents, huh? Last time we started with what? Ladies, huh? Now gents first. Mchala oyani, tell us, who is your woman? Describe to us, who do you consider for a woman? Please. Fadal. Even this one. Yes, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For me, two things. Swala and jilbab.
Yeah?
The enough.
Swala and jilbab.
And jilbab.
So please explain more.
It's like this. The qualities. Those are enough for me. Swala and jilbab.
I want to understand you very well. How does Salah benefit you as a husband?
The Salah of my wife. Kale for my explanation, yeah? Omukyala waba asaala.
Otyo?
Kyangu ogondera Allah. Ate wagondera Allah nanga bajja kungondera. Kuba Allah ina byamulagira okola nga bidda gye ndi. Another thing is that
muwakana oba muteeka mu stamp? Okay.
So nenge ejjejja omugonzaamu omutima. Ate wagondera Allah, Allah mutuma gondera ani? Nze.
So basically, a woman to you is someone who is a praying lady?
Pardon?
A praying one, asala.
Like, for me, my qualification is that two.
Praying is one of them.
Praying and jilbab.
Barakallahu fi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This one maybe is for the audience. Do we have any Yes. I want, as I switch to the ladies, we are done with what? This one. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes. Give me this.
Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Mabad. Once again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
To me, my wife, first of all, whereby she's supposed to be doing what Allah says or command us to be doing. In case that once I implement maybe somewhere, okay, she must be do what Allah says for us to do. Secondly, she must be disciplined. You know, some of them.
I think I need to put this question clearly. I don't know, is it because we are in the mosque, so everything has to be God-fearing and prayers? I want something that is a bit unique. Of course, being God-fearing is public knowledge. They have to be God-fearing, they have to put on jilbab, they have to be praying. It's not news for a woman. Tell me something within the disciplines.
To me, in addition, this lady of mine, she's not be practicing shirk.
Shirk.
Yes. Akwela guza genda ko bajaja bamukasa.
Okay.
Yes, that's all.
So, to you, a woman,
yes,
a woman is someone who doesn't perform shirk.
No.
Okay. Barakallahu feekum. Yes, Sheikh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
For me to consider a woman, she must have the three characters. Number one, she must be religious. Number two, she must be looking nice. The last character, she must understand me and I understand her.
Do you maybe you elaborate one before I get the other one, please? What do you mean by looking nice?
When I say that she must look nice, I will not say that she must be brown, because there are someone who, when you can find her when she's black but beautiful, and you might find another one when she's brown but ugly.
Barakallahu feekum. Now you have very many definitions. Where you come, brother? Engineer Rajab, how many opportunities are we left this side? One, Then we switch to the ladies. Yes.
She is the one who makes me happy when I look at her.
So, your definition of the mother to your kids is someone who looks good and makes you happy.
Exactly.
What do you mean by that?
Is to me,
Checho. Akore chimwa yeduke. Barakallahu feekum. I need someone who, yes, brother. Yes.
For me, what I'm thinking for my wife, firstly, like behavior. Yeah. Then secondly, like the family, for example, having. And then secondly, grateful. If she's not grateful for me,
Now, What do you mean by behavior?
Behavior, like for example, some girls they are not same. All the human people they are not same. Some people their behavior they are good. Some people they are not good.
Okay. So basically, a good behaved woman is good for you.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Allow me switch at least to. Although you don't have points, we will stay here. Bao Yani. Who is starting? We have hands here, yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. To me, a man is a human being who has experienced his wet dreams and the qualifications according to me, there should be 5. Firstly, religion. Secondly, beauty. Thirdly, wealth. Fourthly, background. Then fifthly, he should be a good bad politician.
Barakallahu fikum. Yes, please. There is a sister there. Wama Hajat explain to us. Who is a man to you?
A man to me is someone who has attained maturity. Specifically talking about the discipline of marriage, he should be someone with leadership skills. He should be someone who is responsible for his family and the children. That's what I'm ideally meaning by leadership skills. Someone who will understand my family members and someone who will be willing to listen and understand. Someone who admits his mistakes and corrects them.
Okay, yes. Before you bring back, what do you mean by being presentable?
So, Shay, when you try to walk around this campus, be it morning, be it afternoon, living alone the night hours, you can find a man walking. Definitely at this age, they're above 18. So you look at the nigger, he's like, I'm into you, but from that dressing code, you can see among the many that are stayed here, you can start from the head to the toe. And
okay. MashaAllah, barakallahu fikum. There was a hand of the sister there. Any other? There's a sister here. Remaining one opportunity on this side and then we proceed. Yes. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In addition to that, being a man is someone who understands, trustworthy, like is responsible enough to care for me, protect me, because we have faced situations whereby we are in people and someone wants to insult you and the very man is going to defend you. And then another thing is that a man who is sensible enough in that when I make a mistake in public, please, be my partner back in private correct me. Because I think that's going to give that's going to give me dignity and be like open wisdom, like I can call him 911. And then, but above all, the person that person must be a Muslim because religion comes first.
MashaAllah. Barakallahu fikum. Barakallahu fikum. One last chance here. Yes. Yes, please. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peace into that person, you have a chance to leave that marriage to get another marriage where you can get peace. Like, don't tie yourself into a relationship where you don't get peace. This life is too short, as Najua told us last haraka. Let's go and look peace to the person, because we are leaving our parents to get peace. You grow up like they're restricting you, you're not allowed to go here, you go there. So when you leave your parents' home and you are facing into that the same thing, that's not your parent, but it's just guiding you. To me, a man is M-A-N, meaning that it's three letters. Three letters can't control my life for the entire life. So if I don't get peace into a relationship, I can jump into it and get a person who is providing, responsible, and like it's going to give me peace. If you get a man who is using feelings, that's not a man. A man is not allowed to be using feelings. As ladies, we always tie ourselves in feelings that I feel like I love this guy. But men, trust me, they don't have love. They don't have anything called love. For them, what they have, they do what they want. So, if you feel like a guy comes and tells you that I love you, he doesn't love you. That's what he's telling you that time. But for us ladies, we say that I love this guy. Really, we love them because we are using their feelings. For them, they have to use their brains. Thank you.
Barakallahu fikum.
Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri
واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Ladies and gentlemen, now you realize that we have a big problem in our social space. Imagine a young man who has no idea what it takes for a girl to transform to being a woman. Imagine a young girl, a lady, you to be more specific, who needs marriage but has no clue about what it takes for someone to transform from boyhood to manhood. I would like to put to your attention that being a man and being a woman, it's not courtesy of you guys being together biologically. Biologically, I'm meaning to just put your sexual desires in active play. Please understand, because of that drama in definition, that's why some people are ending up in horrible marriages, thinking they got married to men, thinking they got married to women, and the reality is you got married to a girl and you got married to a boy. Now, for starters, I want you to just appreciate the reality. For marriage to be valid, in as far as Islamic law is concerned, there is an aspect of maturity on both sides. Now, of course, there is an extra window where you might actually wed off or maybe marry off a young girl before maturity, but at least even when she attains maturity, she's given a chance to choose you after she gains maturity. Now that basically means Islam is not going to be in your pro if at all you're a man who thinks you're going to just marry a girl. You are too much obsessed with young girls, not understanding you need to get married to a woman, because marriage is not for young kids. The same applies to you. Your potential husband-to-be is too much obsessed to call him a young man, a young boy. Not knowing, as a serious single lady, you need him to transform from actually being a boy to appreciate a reality of being a man. And when we are talking about marriage, you have that as a task. Why are you looking for a young girl? Like, what is in marriage that is there for a young girl to entertain? Don't you have very many examples to just case study them, to understand how expensive it is to be in a commitment level relationship with someone who is still young? Do you know how hectic it is to just start up a family? You have invested your whole life emotionally, whole life politically, socially into someone who is not yet a man. Personally, I believe that's the one reason as to why we have very many dramatic relationships here. Now, this is university level. The assumption is you're the elites of the society. But you have drama in just defining who a man is and who a woman is. Now, what is going to happen to someone who is not on this level? Don't you really think you're doing injustice to your unborn kids? Aren't you aware that even before we even bring the Islamic perspective, our societies and cultures had it? Different cultures and societies had different ways to just teach and make sure people are not going to get to a level of getting married to take up that social responsibility without them first graduating from boyhood to manhood, or maybe from basically being girls to being women. Because of a sensitivity of the relationship, they had to make sure they invest a lot into making sure the stakeholders in it are actually eligible for that relationship. Now, what is happening today is everyone here wants to enjoy what married people do without even checking their eligibility. I'm coming to appreciate that maybe even at university level, we have people who have no clue about who a woman is. It's a sad reality. We have no clue about who a man is. Let us first go through our cultures. Aren't you aware that the African society before the colonial rule, every society, I'm going to just mention part of it, some of these societies had different cultures, different behaviors, beliefs, considering whatever they considered, to just make sure a man is actually a man. Do some research. I am a Gishu. Do you know what it takes to be a man in as far as the Gishu culture is concerned? Do you? What does it take you? The circumcision. It is not actually the Gishu that initiated that. It is one here, but even as far as the Zulu society, they had it. With an understanding that for someone to graduate from boyhood to manhood, they had to go through that training. All you're seeing is circumcision. They are seeing someone who is being trained to go through pain, because that's what manhood is full of. And after someone is circumcised, their belief is, the belief in the culture society is, you're now a full man. Mind you, without even being kusanyalaza cheche mu luzungu bantu mwe. What is kusanyalaza in English? San what? You've understood. Yes, there is a process that is used medically. They don't take you through that process because they believe you have to go through that to just graduate to being a man. Now, I'm not trying to discuss the fatwa of the halal and haram and wajib. That is a young discussion. I want you to appreciate what they had and maybe substitute it with what you might take to just make sure you're a real man. They even used to consider seclusion, some of the tribes. To just know that you're a man, they would just get you, throws you somewhere in the bush, teach you the surviving skills. Because during that time, you had to learn the disciplines, maybe the skills of hunting to survive. The skills of self-defense. The least they would do for you is giving you a spear, throw you in the middle of the forest. That was not suicidal. They were just trying to make sure they have men for men and not boys in an image of men. Those are some of the behaviors and cultures in the African society. Maybe we are victims of the colonial rule. We are forgetting where we came from. The same applies with the ladies. Of course, different societies had ways of trying to just make sure they fuel some of the disciplines that you need as a lady to just make sure you're eligible for such a serious relationship as marriage. Now, the drama here is maybe we are not falling victims of whatever used to happen because it's basically a new era, which is a plus. What have you considered to substitute some of that? What are we doing at university if we can't actually do research to that? Do you have something today that a boy needs to go through to just make sure he's a man tomorrow? Credibility has that. The answer is we don't have. Now that is being more general. But let me ask you as a person, are you really a man? Who told you that? Besides the deep voice, besides the growing in age. I think now you know the problem we have today. Next time if you're rushing and throwing noise to the public, to the society, how men are dogs and how women are rubbish, please ask yourself, are you really married to a woman? And are you really married to a man? You will find out that the answer is no, then you don't qualify to talk to us in the society. The only one that has a play to say out something is someone who invested in making sure they don't invest their whole selves to such a serious relationship without actually analyzing that the gender you're getting up to is actually that gender. There is a big difference between a boy and a man. Not, and the kanzu is a man. But we all agree they are all males. It takes a lot for a man to appreciate whatever comes with manhood. The same applies with ladies. Not every hijab wearer, not every soft voice deserves to be wifed up. You need to think deep to understand, are they really women? It's very possible for them to get as old as 30 and they are still not women today. Just like it's possible for a man to get to 30 and they are still boys. That's why we need this halakha session today, to help the Muslim fraternity to appreciate what is the Islamic perspective when it comes to basically putting some definitions to who a man is and to who a woman is. Without wasting a lot of time, I want to use one verse. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allah tells us, الرجال قوامون على النساء. I want us to move together because I'm going to take you through the tafsir. Allah is like men, قوامون على النساء. As a man, you're having this degree of advantage that Allah bestowed onto you that the ladies don't have. Now, when you want to understand this verse, you will need to revise and get back to the word qawamun. If you want to understand the word qawamun, there is no way you're going to understand the logical meanings behind this verse without going through some of the marvels of the tafsir and appreciating the Arabic basic language when it comes to you understanding this verse. Because of the drama and the illiterate level some Muslims are, they get to a point of even translating the verse in a way of showing that Allah was basically trying to educate us, men, how authoritative we are over women. Maybe it is a plus somehow, but it's being misunderstood. Qawamun basically means, if you want to understand it, please appreciate two realities. Reality number one, if you want to understand what basically Allah was trying to instill into boys to transform to manhood, you appreciate the reality, the different meanings that come with the word qama in the Arabic language. The second reality is, after appreciating the different meanings that come with only that verb, you also appreciate another reality, the tense that Allah used. Qawamun. The Arabic students, you know, it basically means sighatul mubalagha. In English, grammatically, it means, it indicates the continuity of something. So basically, it means whatever discipline that is going to be indicated here, it's not going to stop today. It's a discipline that you're going to need to keep today, yesterday, and tomorrow to just make sure you're a serious man. One of the first meanings are qama. Qama basically means someone who is standing up. And logically it means someone who is actively involved into what makes you better and into knowing that whoever is under you has you for an answer. How many men today are really investing into just knowing how active you need to be in the life of whoever calls you husband, in the life of whoever calls you a dad and father? Do you really think you can only be active to them without actually thinking about how you're going to be active to them effectively? Now basically it's like Allah is like, when Allah is saying Ar-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisa, He is tasking you that please appreciate that the degree, the advantageous degree I provided to you indicates that if we are to compare a man and a woman who is supposed to be actively involved into the other's life, you need to be the answer to that. If you're not the answer, congratulations, you're not yet a man. The second meaning is al-azam. To be a man, you need some disciplines of commitment. Commitment basically means you're believing into something, you want something to take you somewhere, despite the fact of you actually not getting whatever you expected out of it. How many of young men here are just getting married because ladies are beautiful? Do you know how much your lady needs your commitment when she is pregnant? Young girls, are you thinking about the commitment levels? Do you really think the beauty is going to only take you throughout the marriage? You have some times into your time frame where you're going to basically need your man to just commit to you. Not for whatever you're doing, but because he is a committed person. You will come to realize that it takes manhood to understand that you do not need to feel happy to do whatever a man needs to do. And we are designed like that. To them, they need to first feel happy to make sure you're happy and expect good from them. If at all every man was like a woman in that space, they would feel hungry for several days. But even when you're upset with them, because you're committed to them, you're not going to let them starve. That is what they call commitment. So it's like Allah is teaching men to appreciate some of these disciplines. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa, in the respect that you really need to actively, continuously be committed to whoever you call a wife, to whoever is under your family. Don't you really think you need to train some of these disciplines as you're growing up to advancing in your social circle? This is what your Islam is teaching you. And please, ladies, you really have to be smart as you're trying to make people husbands. When you are pregnant, the reality is you're not going to look good. Whatever he considered as beauty is getting away for 9 months. The last thing you need from your boy is to make that a reality for your social insecurity. Now you understand why we have very many single mothers here? People are busy sleeping together. They are enjoying conjugal rights. Because you don't know the science of what it takes to be a man, this boy is going to run definitely. He's not even ready for responsibility. What do you expect from him? Now you're already a victim. To a committed man, there's no way he's leaving you. Because before you get to that level, they are already committed. Because research shows there is a lot that happens when these ladies, your wives, are actually pregnant. Aren't you even aware? Don't you discuss with people who are married? It's very possible for your wife, the day she's pregnant, to tell you, I don't want to see you again because you're the reason as to why I'm in this pain. And she has a valid reason. You're the reason. For some reason, she doesn't want you around. The question as a man, what are you going to do with that reality? If you're not a committed man, that's your last marriage. Actually, you're going back home, you become a single mother, he's marrying someone else. When he's a man, he knows that is just drama. Hormonal imbalances, the drama with ladies when they are in reason Z, when they are pregnant, it's temporary. She will come back. Commitment does that. That's why you need a man for marriage. You don't need a boy. Try to seek for some of these disciplines in relationships, because you're getting close and attached to people who are still immature and young. And the same applies to you. So it's like Allah is first treating men. You need to be committed in any relationship. Now you're dating him for 5 years. When you talk about marriage, yesikamuko. Actually, anyiga no kunyiga. He's too upset. You don't understand him. Why are you talking about marriage? Are you not serious? What is your problem? A man will actually long to commit to you, and he will do a lot to make sure you are actually his. And that is what Allah is basically teaching us. Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. How about you think about that in that respect? Just being a committed man. The other meaning is mulaziman wa muhafidhan. One of the meanings in the word qawamun, qama, is to appreciate the reality of you being a protector to your woman, wife, and actually family. Now it is sensitive because we are not in wars. It's a very peaceful country. When we are talking about protectors, many of you just think about wars. How unserious are you? As a man, you have it as a role in manhood to make sure your family is protected from any potential threat. If you can't do that, and you're not ready to do that to whoever you're going to call a wife, something is wrong with your manhood. They're not going to understand that. Because of the insensitivity we all have, you're throwing away good men. Because they are asking you, why are you not telling me where you are going? Now, as this unserious young girl, you're saying, this man, kana kamanyiro nakalaba, I am a mature person. He's asking me, where are you going at this time? Someone you're supposed to protect actually doesn't want to be protected. Why are you in that family in first place? Don't you really think in these changing times, you really need to even protect your family from the social media traumas? We have unserious men that are actually victimizing even your kids to social media. A 1-year-old someone, they have a lot to live, many years to live if Allah grants them. You are influencing their future for your not understanding. Now, if your daughter and son is 3 years old, how is that our business? Tell us. Did you interview that son and daughter and she or he told you that please post me? Or you are actually doing that because of your psychological realities? Because maybe you were not posted as a young person. Now, as a man, Islam is basically training you. Please, some of the disciplines you need to put in are, please be in position to protect your family. They need that from you. If whoever you're going to call a wife is not ready to be protected, please don't make mistakes twice. Do you know what it means your wife to take a boda going somewhere? You have no clue where she is going, you have no clue where she is from. And then she dies with a boda accident. Her father is going to call you because on the day of nikah, the statement was al-ijab wal-qabul. It was basically exchange of responsibility. I am giving you my daughter. You make sure she is safe. Where she is, where she's moving, the least you can do is to make sure you at least know where she's going and check out how good is where she is. Let me give you a good example. Now, I'm not here with my families, but I have it as a role to make sure if I'm going somewhere with my family, I make sure my family is not losing respect wherever I'm going. If I'm not sure where my family is going to be conducted, where are they going to sit, are they going to eat what I'm going to eat, there's no way I'm moving with them. If I'm sure it's going to be that, I need to be a protector to them. That's when I'm going to move with them. Now, as a man, you really have to put that in play. Just because you're married doesn't mean you have to move with your wife everywhere. Your wife is seeing you go swala, you need to understand that you have it as a role to make sure you're protecting your woman from unnecessary drama. And today, we have it as a threat that you need to protect your family from social media, at least. Because not everyone on social media understands what you believe in. Now, whoever is on social media here, get your fellow man who is also on social media. That family is going to move. If you're not on social media, find someone who is also not on social media. Let it also. Or maybe if you're on social media, don't put your family in social media. It's not our business. If you're on social media, keep your man off. Because it's not his. Try to protect. I have no solution for you, but I'm just telling you, protect your family. Because that is what Islam wants you to do. Mulaziman wa muhafidan. The other concept, because of time, the last one, athabat, the reliability, the stability. You really have to be stable as a man. Now, all these disciplines, Allah is trying to put us in that elevated position, not for us to brag. It's actually a position of responsibility. That's when you're going to realize it's very easy to be a male. It's very easy to be a boy, because that's where everyone starts from. To be a man, you need to do some extra stuff. And this is the guidance of Islam. The number one question is, do we now understand when Allah is saying, Ar-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisa? Men need to be actively involved, need to be committed to their women, to their families, need to be protectors to their families, need to be reliable, and they are supposed to be stable to their families. That is the whole concept of being qawwamun. Being advantageously up in that degree to whoever calls you a husband. Now, if you understand all these disciplines, you're going to appreciate that good. Islam is doing us justice to just be that. That's why you're going to understand that Islam even trains us in different traditions to appreciate. When you revise into this verse, you will get to know that even Allah was like, بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. It's because of the way Allah elevated us by gender, and it's not a problem. Maybe your strength is not her strength, and maybe her strength is not your strength. We are not competing as genders because we are different. Everyone is powerful over the other on a deliberate move, naturally. And you're strong in a way over us. It was a deliberate, natural move. It's not supposed to be a battlefield now. وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. You are elevated because of what you spend and provide in what you own. Money, time. Brothers, do you think it's easy to just stay being a man for 10, 20 years? Spending money is not enough. Last time we checked, the poor managers of homes are actually rich. The disciplines of just knowing how you handle a family, managing it. The more you produce, the more you need to learn some skills of just managing them and not clashing in a home. You need all these disciplines. Now, because of all that, You're elevated and you're granted that responsibility to just make sure there is a difference between someone who has not got to that level and someone who is still young. Now, some of the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm first dealing with men and then I come to women. Some of the traditions, Prophet went an extra mile to actually educating us, because we might get lost into an understanding that maybe manhood is attributed to strength. One day the Prophet found the companions in the mosque, just like we are here. They were just trying to friendly wrestle around. Wrestling basically means it's a game where you're going to be with maybe a friend and then you try to friendly wrestle and find out who is stronger than the other. When the Prophet asked the companions, he was like, what are you trying to do? The companions were like, oh, no, we are just friendly to find out who is more stronger, who is more powerful. Prophet said the following statement that actually defines who a man is. لَيْسَ الشَّدِيدُ بِالسُّرَعَةِ. The strong one is not the one who attains victory as a result of wrestling. Not the most powerful one. إِنَّمَا الشَّدِيدُ, the strong one, الَّذِي يَمْلِكُ نَفْسَهُ عِنْدَ الْغَضَبِ, is someone who has the discipline of managing the anger and wrath. That is not for boys. It is for men. Because as a leader in your home, you're going to find many reasons that switch you off in your home. The last thing you need in your man is an immature mind that doesn't control their wrath and anger. You're going to be slapped in an instant. Because when someone has no discipline to just manage their anger, they're not good to be made husbands. Now the question is, as I'm trying to speak about that, have you actually analyzed that within your boo-boo? Not yet, and you're planning for wedding. Now when you're slapped afterwards, because we all agree you're going to be stressed to him. What you don't understand is, when you're on top, whoever is below you must have complaints to you. That's why government has opposition. Just give a pen and paper to your son and daughter. As young as they are, task them to write complaints they have over you. You will see. Your daughter and son is going to write down and say, my father and mother, they are not allowing me to play with my friend who is a girl at night alone. That is a complaint. My father is not allowing me to have a phone and I'm having internet. He doesn't allow me to access internet without his supervision. Isn't that a complaint? It is a complaint because you're the head of the family. It is a complaint because you're the mother to them. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to put water to every complaint, because analogically it is true. The more complaints they have, it's because they are under you. They are on the receiving side. Now, whoever is on the receiving side is positioned to actually weigh and gauge. Am I receiving enough? Am I receiving more? Is it quality enough? That's why they're throwing out complaints. We don't have enough time, enough money, enough drama, because they are receiving. You're not complaining a lot as men because you are the giving side. Does that make sense? Exactly, it makes sense. Now, you need to see these disciplines in your men. Are they actually leaders? Do they have some of these disciplines? Because you need them, not only as husbands, but you need them as leaders. That's when you're going to realize, when you're choosing a man, you're not choosing him for you. You're choosing him for your unborn kids. May Allah grant you men for marriage. When Allah switched the switch, after dealing with us, He started addressing women. And the next statement was, فَالصَّالِحَاتِ, the good women. Now, when Allah was trying to address the ladies, He didn't start with their gender. He started with the quality that is attributed to the gender. Good women. As-salihat, it's an Arabic word. Min as-sulh, diddul qital. Sulh basically means someone who engineers peace in a battlefield. Someone who is in control. If they need to actually put trouble to you, they have that switch. If they need you to feel peaceful, they actually have that peace. So basically Allah is training ladies, please. As you were rejoicing to have those men in play, vis-a-vis, you actually need an extra effort to make sure you're not only a woman, but actually a good woman. Because as a receiver, if you decide to be ungrateful, you can. There is no wife that is in marriage unless they have the power to make this world hell for you. When you get to the traditions of the Prophet, where Prophet is like ad-dunya mata'un, this world is good and peaceful for us to enjoy the good in it. Wa khayru mata'iha. And if you, as a man, if you want to enjoy some of the peace that is in this dunya, al-mar'atu salihah, a lady who actually knows what ladies do. Al-amru salih, al-shay'u salih, if something is actually righteous, it basically means it appreciates the reason as to why it is in existence first. An example. Now this is a phone. It takes good pictures, good videos, it can even call. The primary role of this phone, for whatever it does, is calling to make sure I'm talking to someone who is not here. I don't care. Does it take good pictures or not? If it can't do that, does it qualify to be called a phone? Now grammatically we are like, this phone is actually salih if at all it is doing that, calling someone away. If it can't take good pictures, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not a good phone, because it's actually serving why it was made. Now when the Prophet is like al-mar'atu salihah, you guys have been making it a point that a religious woman, that is not news. You are supposed to actually get involved with someone who is religious. Actually, when she's praying, it is her prayer, not actually yours. You didn't know that? If your man is praying, it is not your prayer, it is his. It is even possible for both of you to die as a couple, and one is going in Jannah and someone is going to Jahannam. Had it been a reality, it would be like, I am a wife to him, he's the imam, I'm supposed to be in Jannah. It's not the case. Religiously, you're not supposed to hide into that. It is your task to be a religious someone. Actually, why are you even in love with someone who is not religious? I am asking you as a serious single person, why are you in love with this lady? And you're telling me she puts on jilbab. Yandi yambadechi. Last time we checked, she's supposed to be putting on well. Tell me something else. Tell me she's interested to being a mother. Tell me she has disciplines of actually being a good woman. Good woman basically means someone who actually has the power to make hell for you, but at least they are reserving that and they are giving you reasonable stress. Because if you don't consider that as a sister, that's why every man categorizes you. Chabachala, nestresi, balibati. So someone is already going to marry you, but he knows you're the source of stress in this dunya. You actually know that we are also sources of. Now that's when you appreciate that Allah is speaking to mothers of the nation. If we want stability within our families, we need ladies to appreciate that because you're on the receiving side, chances are high you're going to have complaints. But even when you're raising these complaints, don't forget that you have it as an attribute for salihat and good, making sure where you call home home is actually peaceful because she has that switch, 2 switches. If she wants to make it hell for you, congratulations, fellow man, Guma. If she wants you to feel peaceful, congratulations for a nice choice. And Allah proceeded by saying qanitatun, another attribute for them. Qanitatun basically means a lady who is eager to please their creator. Min al-qunut. To please Allah in a way that when you're doing whatever you do as a wife, whatever you do as a woman, you do not prioritize pleasing your man. You're going to get disappointed. Put it in mind that you're doing whatever you're doing in your limits to just please Allah, because in the long run, Allah is putting himself in the game. You're the best people that are disappointed in these relationships. For one reason, whatever you're doing, you want him to give the same energy. That's why you're crying. But Allah is being like, no. As a lady, you have to consider being eager in whatever relationship you're in to please Allah, of course, after doing some good homework. Time is not my ally. But lastly, حَفِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. Sisters, as a woman, as a wife, you are positioned in a position of knowing the dark side of your man. To us, pride and reputation is what we feed on. To you as wives, because you're on the receiving side and you know the invisible, the world doesn't know about us, that's why Allah is like, حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. We need women who actually understand that because you're in that position, please prioritize to keep the unseen, the invisible, just like Allah ordained us to keep them. Why are you a rumor monger? Give me one reason. How is it your friend's business to discuss your man? I normally challenge. Temulabanga andi wano nekalakasa. All you need is my people to come here. Mubeko gwe muwa akazindalo. And task them, please tell us something that the world doesn't know about that man that is shouting at us. As a married man, I'm going to be very worried because a wife is positioned to know what the world doesn't know about you. That's when you're going to understand. When you're going to marry someone, you don't marry someone who is loose in the mouth. You're going to be a member of parliament. Maybe you're the elder son. How are you going to discuss stuff with the wife who is going to discuss the same stuff with someone else? Don't you really think it's also something that you have to consider? And it is dramatic in a way. Fenatukanya, all the scholars today agree. Nti olugambo lwabani. But abasajja just batandise mulembe guno. Naye kuva ddanga mwengule yammwe. As a lady, you understand that please, you have it as a task to keep the reputation of your husband. Because when you open the ill side of your man, you're not only distracting him, you're not only destroying him, but you're even killing his healthy masculinity, which you need. So please, sisters, as you prepare to be a wife, or maybe you're already a wife, understand that respect. It is very, very sensitive. That doesn't mean you're not going to say it to anyone. It basically means even when you're going to talk about your man, it's reason enough to look around. You're not just going to discuss your man with your friend. Your friend tategeranyo. You're basically friends because you went to school together. So you're going to open your man to her. In the long run, she's going to also talk about your man somewhere else. Mulieno muswala. Because you were too unserious not to consider that reality. A good woman, for starters, is a woman who is going to actually harbor your reputation. You're our imam here, for God's sake. The last thing we need is a woman who doesn't understand that. Don't you really think my wife has restrictions where to be? Just because she's my wife anyway. I know what I know kubera. I know what I know kogera nabo. Niwaba anyumya. There are some stories that are supposed to be very sensitive, as maybe she's submitting. For example, your wife is in a halakha like this. Say something about your man. You see your wife getting the microphone. And then your wife is like, a man. Mind you, I am married at Akutandiseko. I am married, mind you. You might think I'm not speaking out of experience. I am married, and even my man is here. A man, nowadays, men are too unserious, they're irresponsible, they don't know what to do. Men are dogs. And you're here. Of course, all of us are going to look at you. Maybe those who know her as your wife. Don't you really think, as a woman, you need to consider that? Maybe the job you're going to have, you're going to sign at the start. You're working with an embassy, and you're not going to just bubble out whatever is in the government. Not to even your family. It is actually considered treason. Don't you really think you need a wife who actually understands that? Please, men, get married to women who can actually respect what you've built and respected for your reputation, because you feed on that. If you have no one who doesn't respect that, look for a woman, don't look for a girl. And that is the message in today's halakha. I would like to wind with one tradition where the Prophet actually explained more. With this, the tradition of Abu Huraira, where the Prophet was like, Khairun Nisa, the best of women, if you're to consider getting one. إذا نظرت إليها سرتك. When you look at her, she makes you happy. Now, this is what I enjoy when I'm trying to translate some of these traditions, because when someone is a muulu basically means a bachelor. You might actually translate some of these traditions because you are sexually charged. Young men and young women get to a point of saying, the Prophet told us, you marry someone who is beautiful only. Do you know a beautiful brown lady who is reckless? Have you thought about that reality? Are you really going to be happy after a month of marriage when you look at her? Who is going to tell people who are not yet married to appreciate that the beauty facilitates you to marry them? It doesn't facilitate staying married. Your wife is very beautiful to you, but after 1 year, your beauty in her is not the beauty that whoever doesn't have her sees. That's why everyone outside is like, you have a very beautiful, but as a husband, a year down the road, what you need in this woman is beyond beauty. Mind you, you lost in that. Do you know what it means to just be with a beautiful, nice looking lady who is lazy? You want to tell me that the Prophet's wisdom was actually instilling into you to just look at the beauty and actually not considering some of these disciplines that actually push you to appreciating how beautiful she is? That's when you're going to realize, sisters, that the Prophet was not basically trying to inform, that you should make up to look beautiful to them. You're going to appreciate that on top of that beauty, please package it with some of the sweet disciplines that keep that beauty in his eyes. إِذَا نَظَرْتَ إِلَيْهَا سَرَّتْكَ. You look at her, whenever you look at her, you actually have reasons to smile. Not because she's only beautiful, but because she's listening. You guys are even getting married to girls who are big-headed. Now, just imagine, you are the leader. Whoever you're leading is a big, and it is not news. Actually, she told you that for me, I grew up as a firstborn. Even my dad told me that I am big. Because you're a desireful man, you were like, I will manage you. You enter into marriage. That's when you're going to clash because you didn't even consider that. Now at least we understand what the Prophet considered. إِذَا نَظَرْتَ إِلَيْهَا سَرَّتْكَ. When you look at your woman, you have reasons to keep smiling, not only for today, and that cannot happen, not until you've checked some other disciplines. وَإِذَا أَمَرْتَهَا طَاعَتْكَ. The other concept of a good woman is when you give her an order, when you guide her, she finds ease into obeying you. Now that basically means you have it as a task to convince your woman that your IQ is worth being followed. You have not known how bad and how traumatic it is for someone to follow you with clear, concrete evidence knowledge. Titotegera, you don't understand. Now you find men just talking authoritatively and they are like, the Prophet said, إِذَا أَمَرْتَهَا طَاعَتْكَ. When I give an order, you're supposed to also do what? You need to actually appreciate, because you're not going to put Prophet into our drama of feminism or masculinity and so on. It goes both ways. If you need a woman to actually take your orders, convince her before you wife her up that your IQ is worth being followed. That's when you're going to realize that when you get married to a man who is actually functioning uphead, even when you get to the decision making reality and they are not taking your suggestion, you're just okay, because you just know that maybe they are good thinkers and they have it as a skill to decision make out stuff. You don't know how traumatic it is for your IQ defected man to give out an order, you knowing very well you're going to clash, but you have it from the religious side. You're supposed to order, maybe go as he is saying. No one is thinking about that. You're only looking for good bodies and you're only looking for men who can talk what you want to hear. And lastly, the Prophet is like, وَإِذَا غِبْتَ عَنْهَا حَفِظَتْكَ فِي نَفْسِهَا وَمَالِكَ. The Prophet was like, please consider getting women, these are all attributes, that when you're away from them, they actually keep themselves for you. And lastly, get women who are conscious about your accounts and about your spending. Why are you still in love with a girl who told you? You actually ask her that, my baby, and you say what? Yes, you just say yes. You have to be loving girls. You tell your woman, my baby, what is your concern? What is your submission? In case I just get a trip of maybe 2 weeks away. This wife of yours starts. I was on YouTube and I saw someone saying, a body of a woman. If at all it needs a man and you are not around, you don't have to ask me what comes next. Because I'm a functioning, fully younger girl, I need a man with with me. You people are too unserious to a level of not appreciating that we don't get married to only get sexual satisfaction, because the fact that your marriage is not reason enough to always get biology whenever you need it. Younger man, let me tell you the reality. Get more reasons of having a wife. Stop being desireful. It is very possible with your wife for you as a man to need biology and she doesn't feel like biology. What are you going to do as a man? Go out for fornication? That basically means some of the disciplines we take back home, you learn how to control your desires. You're good at that. You've done that for 30 years. Because you were single for 30 years. Now, sisters, please just make sure your husband is just at peace whenever he's not with you. The point is not into just being away, but to make sure the trust you have in your woman, when you're away from her, she's not a kind that is going to easily get a substitute in your absence. And then lastly, wa malik. You get a woman who is actually considerate with your funds. You're only still dating, but your woman is too expensive. If you have the money, it's okay, enjoy. If you don't have the money, look for someone who is more considerate. You're still a man, a young man who needs to build your future tomorrow. Someone who is still building their reputation, you don't spend a lot, you spend reasonably. Not until you gain. I think we get the difference now. Maybe the objective of this today's session was, please, as men, get women for marriage. Don't get girls. I understand you're too obsessed with how young girls look. Please look for women. Women doesn't have anything to do with age. It has a lot to do with whatever we've mentioned. Make sure you make women wives. Don't make girls wives. The same applies with sisters. Don't look for boys. The boys are still growing up. They are still in transformation. Islam never sent you to get in a relationship as serious as marriage with young boys. Look for men. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all men, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you all women. Wa barakallahu fikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.